What's up, y'all? It's your boy eBay Predictions in the building. I will be covering UFC Fight Island 4, Holm versus Ayari and Aldana, the whole card prelims and the whole shebang. But yeah, I know a lot of people are ragging on this card, and it's not the greatest card in the world, but it's still a card, and it's still something to watch. So I'm not too mad about it. But and you got some decent fights on here to check out. So yeah. But let's talk about the first fight of the night. Now, I actually let me preview by saying I might have the fight card wrong in terms of like the match placement or the fight placement. So if I do have it wrong, I apologize before I do my predictions. But I'll have timestamps if you guys want it in a particular order or whatever. Start off the card with Dequan Townsend versus Dusko Rovic. Dequan comes in 21-11, fights out of Michigan, age 34, height 6'3", and a reach of 79. Dusko is 9-0, fights out I think of Siberia, age 26, height 6'1", and a reach of 74. In terms of recent wins, Dequan's most recent win was against Wayman Carter, and Dusko's most recent win was against Teddy Ash. Dequan's his most recent loss was against Devin Clark and is on a 3-fight losing streak. And Dusko is undefeated. Looking at tape of both these guys, you can tell the UFC is obviously doing some their matchmaking magic here. And Dequan's not a bad fighter. I would say he's wild. He's dangerous. He's decent on the ground. He knows how to transition well. He knows how to sweep. But he's a little limited, and he's a little let's say limited in his skills. This kid, man, he looks like he's very talented in a lot of areas. Looks like he puts a lot of good pressure. His takedowns, his trips are really, really good. So I think they're setting this kid up to beat Dequan. I'm gonna be going Dusko via decision. I think I'm gonna go decision with that one. So yeah, but next fight, Jordan Williams versus Nassourdine Imavov. I think that's how you say it. Jordan comes in 93, fights out of California, age 29, height 6 foot and a reach of 76. Imavov comes in 8-2, fights out of France, age 24, height 6'3", and a reach of 75. In terms of recent wins, Jordan's coming off a win over Gregory Rodriguez. Imavov's most recent win was against Jonathan Minor. In terms of losses, Jordan Williams' most recent loss was to Roman Karmaganev. Or Komagomedov, I think that's how you say that guy's name. And then Imavov, his most recent loss was to Michelle Misklis in 2017. So this guy Imavov is, talented. You look at the way he hits the bag, and I've seen some highlights of that. And then just some of his fights over there, just he puts a lot of good pressure on guys, but it's not like the kind of pressure where it's sloppy, where you see a lot of sloppy 1-2s, and they're not returning to the chin, right? Or they're not returning to the face, whatever you want to say. They're just really technical. Like, I've seen him swarm on somebody, and they look super technical the way he was swarming his punches on the guy. And, the punch placement, the technique, everything he was doing, the stance and all that looked really good. Now, Jordan Williams, on the other hand, is a good fighter, but he's, again, like Dequan, he's somewhat a little sloppy in there. He's somewhat limited, but he has really good aggressive pressure. So, him being a lot more aggressive than his other opponents, kind of like it kind of breaks his opponents. I think that's the best way of saying it. And he's able to run right through him, and he's able to win those fights. So I'm looking at it in terms of who's gonna win. I'm gonna have to go Imavov. I just think he's more technical, he's better, and he's a little more talented in certain areas. But Jordan Williams can win this fight, man. The kid has heart, man, and he wants to be here and he wants to win. I was watching his Contender Series victory, and he was like screaming at Dana White, "Give me the contract!" So all respect to Jordan Williams, but I'm gonna have to be going Imavov. Next fight, I think female. No, not female fight. Jessin Arroyo versus Luigi Vendramini. I think that's how you say that cat's name. Jessin comes in 16-5, fights out of Germany, age 28, height 6 foot, reach to 73. Luigi comes in 8-1, fights out of Brazil, age 24, height 5'8", and a reach to 73. In terms of recent wins, Jessin's coming off a win over Jimmy Wallhead via split decision in 2018, and Luigi's coming off a win over Lucas Urico. In terms of recent losses, Jessin's most recent loss was to Stevie Ray, and Luigi's most recent loss was to Zaleski dos Santos via KO. I think you guys remember that one. It was pretty crazy. Like Zaleski just ran up and hit him with that flying knee and took him out and just swarmed on and just beat on him. Looking at tape of both these guys, both these guys are really, really skilled, but I'm really looking at Jessin right here. Seeing his tape, the kid just swarms on people. He's, again, super aggressive, and I think Luigi's very susceptible to that. He's a good fighter, but I just don't think he's gonna beat Jessin. Did I give I did not give what I think is gonna happen, or how I think the fight is gonna end. So for Dequan, Townsend versus Dusko, Toronto, I see that going by decision. Jordan Williams versus Nassourdine Imavov, I see that going by decision too. And then, so this one, Jessin Arroyo versus Luigi, remember the one I was just talking about? I see that I'm going round 2 KO for Jessin Arroyo, or TKO. It doesn't matter. I see a finish happening. Sorry, dude, I don't know why I do this, but I always forget about adding the fact that, like, how do I see the fight ending or some shit like that? I always forget to add that. Next fight, Joshua Culibao versus Charles Joudain. Joshua comes in 8-1, fights at Australia, age 26, height 5'10". Charles is 10-3, fights out of Canada, age 24, a height of 5'9". In terms of recent wins, Joshua's coming off a win over Josh Payne, and his most recent loss was to Jalen Turner. Charles Joudain's most recent win was against Doi Hui Choi, where he got a good finish. I won't say he looked amazing. And then his most recent loss was against Andre Fili, where my respect for him went out of control. Let's talk about this kid, Charles Joudain, man. I am really high on this kid. I at first, when I seen the Doi Hui Choi fight, I wasn't as impressed. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do I say? Like, he looked really stiff in there, and it looked like he was just taking shots from Doi Hui Choi and kind of breaking Doi Hui Choi's will. And he just looked super tough and had really good power, but he didn't look good. When he fought Andre Fili, look at that first round, how slick that kid was. Now, Andre Fili is a complete MMA fighter and a complete mixed martial artist, so he used his other skills of grappling and was able to win that fight and was able to get some takedowns and was able to grind it out. But, man, he dropped Andre Fili in that first round. I was like, yo, this kid has actually got better. He got better. And I don't know if, obviously MMA math isn't the thing you want to always use. It works sometimes, but it's not something you want to use. But I don't think Andre Fili would have a performance that Charles Joudain had over Doi Hui Choi. I think he might be able to beat Doi Hui Choi, but I don't think he could do that. And this kid, as a striker, he has a lot. He's amazing, man. He's just getting better and better. So I'm really high on him now. Joshua, let's not just give this whole entire thing to Charles Joudain, but he's a decent fighter. He comes in there to fight. He has some decent takedowns, but they're very, I wouldn't say lazy, but I wouldn't say that wrestling is his strong suit. And I don't think he's going to be looking to wrestle necessarily. He should. I think he should. I don't think he's going to. Just looking the way Jalen Turner finished him too. And that was a great finish from Jalen. But I'm gonna have to just go Charles Joudain, man. I think second round KO. I think he usually gets a lot of those, so I'm gonna have to go that one. Next, a fight, Tom Breese versus Roman Kopylov. Tom comes in 11-2, fights out of Birmingham, age 29, height 6'3", and reaches 73. Roman comes in 8-1, fights out of Russia, age 29, so the same age, height 6 foot, a little shorter, and it reaches 75. So he has a reach advantage, but he's a little shorter than him. In terms of recent wins, Tom Breese's most recent one was against Daniel Kelly in 2018, man. I never thought I'd be saying that name. And then Roman's most recent one was against Yasubi Imoto in 2018. In terms of losses, Tom Breese is coming off a loss to Brendan Allen, and Roman Kopylov, his most recent loss was to Carl Roberson via I think third round submission, right? I'm pretty sure. Here's what I gotta say about this fight. man, I know Roman's really, really, he likes to go forward, likes to, outstrike guys, but I've just seen a few holes in the grappling, and Tom Breese, yeah, he lost to Brendan Allen, but, like, at the time, it was like, damn, man, he lost to Brendan Allen, but Brendan Allen is proven to be a really, like, a guy that could get ranked, and he's going to be fighting Ian Heinisch, I think, in a few months. Like, that's a guy I could see, having a good showcase against Ian Heinisch. So, he hasn't lost to no bums. He's not the most active guy in the world, but I think he's going to win this fight. I think he's going to beat Roman, and I think he's going to take him down. And I think he gets the third round submission. I'm going third round submission. Sorry, people keep blowing up my phone. Next fight, Casey Kenny versus Heili Alanteng. I hope I'm saying that cat's name. Casey comes in 14-2. Fights at Arizona, age 29, height of 5'7". Heili's 14-7-1. So he has a draw on his record. And also Casey has a draw on his record. Fights out of China, age 28, height of 5'6". In terms of recent wins, Casey's coming off a win over Luis Smolka, and his most recent loss was to Merab Devalushi. No shame in that. Heili is coming off a win over Ryan Benoit, and his most recent loss was to Kai Oscara. I really like this fucking fight. It's kind of hard, low-key. I like Casey Kenny looked really, really good against Luis Smolka, but Heili Alanteng is, I think, he has a lot of abilities in there, but and I seen his fight with Song Yadong, and he ended up going to a decision with him, and he did a lot of good things. He went for a lot of takedowns and was able to take him down a lot. So he didn't look too bad in that fight. But Casey Kenny also has a win over Brandon Royval, so that's it. That's also a good fighter. He has a win over. So I'm gonna be leaning towards Casey Kenny. I'm gonna be going there. I don't know. Some people might call me crazy, but I think Casey Kenny gets this done by decision. So yeah. Next fight, Yorgan de Castro versus Carlos Felipe, I think. Felipec, or whatever his name is. Yorgan comes in 6-1, fights out of Massachusetts, age 32, height 6 foot, and reaches 74. He's not from Mass, he just fights out of there. But he's not from Massachusetts, if I didn't say that. But he fights out of there. Carlos is 8-1. Fights out of Brazil, age 25, height 6 foot, and reaches 75. In terms of recent wins, Yorgan is most recent one was against Jessin Tafa. His most recent loss was to Greg Hardy. Carlos's most recent one was against Sandro Bizarro in 2017. If we're just talking about an MMA bout, and his most recent loss was to Sergey Spivak. This one's a hard one for me to pick, low key. Like, I've been kind of, like, tossing and turning around because I've seen some pictures of Carlos Felipe, and apparently he got in better shape, and he looks just in better shape. And even his fight against Sergey Spivak, he didn't look that bad. He had a round where I think he could have edged it. So he wasn't terrible in that fight. And here's the thing. I was looking at his record and stuff like that, and I was like, man, this guy hasn't fought in a minute. But he's been taking boxing bouts. So he's been kind of active in terms of, obviously it's not MMA, but he's been boxing. And I think he's more of a boxing-oriented fighter when he gets in that cage. So it's like, I'm not too mad at it, but it's just really hard for me to go with him. I kind of want to go with him because I could see him outworking Yorgan de Castro, or just out hustling him. But I don't know. I'm going to be going Yorgan de Castro first round KO. I think Yorgan's just the way he knocked out Jessin Tafa, man, I did not expect that at all, man. So he actually kind of impressed me in there. So but Carlos Felipe can win this fight though. He can win this fight, but I'm gonna be going Yorgan de Castro. Next fight, strawweight females. Loma Lookboonmee versus Joy Frey. Loma comes in 4-2, fights out of Thailand, age 24, and a height of 5'1". Frey, let's just say Frey. Frey comes in 9-5, fights out of Texas, age 35, height 5'3". Loma's most recent one was to Alessandro Lubi via split decision, and her most recent loss was to Angela Hill. Frey. His most recent win was to Ashley Cummins, and her most recent loss was to Kay Hansen. I think via armbar, right? So, this is an interesting fight. I've been kind of tossing and turning around, and here's where I come to my conclusion. I understand Loma Lookboonmee has all this experience in Muay Thai and stuff like that, but I have not been that impressed with her in MMA. I don't know, and she looked kind of out of shape against Angela Hill, low key, as I remember, or maybe I got to rewatch that fight again, but she didn't look in the best shape. But yeah, nothing against this girl, but I just don't think the Muay Thai experience has really translated well in MMA. I think she looked good in some of her other fights and her amateur fights. I think she was able to dominate these girls, but I just feel like these longer, taller girls that can just kind of bully her around, kind of get a W. So I'm gonna be going Frey, man. I really think Julianna Frey is gonna take this. I think she's gonna take this by decision. I will never ever in my life, like, unless I really truly feel like a female's gonna knock another girl out, like, unless I see it, I'm not going no goddamn knockout or well, maybe a submission for a female, but you ain't seeing me go no knockout for a female fight. It just doesn't happen, man. I watch too many fight cards where I see a bunch of decisions. So I'm gonna go in Frey via decision. Next fight, Carlos Condit versus Mcgee. Condit comes in 30-13. Fights at New Mexico, Albuquerque. Age 36, height 6'2", and reaches 76. Mcgee 19-9. Fights out of Utah. Age 35, height 5'11", and it reaches 75. In terms of recent wins, Condit's most recent win was against Thiago Alves in 2015. Mcgee, most recent win was against Alex Gracie in 2018. And he also has a win over Whitaker, which is a good thing. Condit is coming off a loss to Michael Chiesa and is also on a 5-fight losing streak. And Mcgee's most recent loss was to Sean Brady. I like Condit, man, but this is not even a good matchup, right? He's been having problems with the guys that grind on him and that wrestle him, and I don't know why they don't just give him Matt Brown. I don't know why they don't just book this fucking fight. Like, Mcgee, obviously, he's not also the youngest guy in the world, but, I know what Mcgee's going to do. He's going to go in there and take his ass down. I know what he's going to do, and it's kind of sad to see these, to see Condit at this position. Mcgee, he's had his, trials and errors, with his drug addiction and stuff like that. And I know his goals were to be a champion, but I feel like he, when I watched that little clip about how he won the Ultimate Fighter 11 and how he just won the season, I kind of felt like he reached his goal. Obviously, I know he wants to be a champion and stuff like that. I get it. But personally, I feel like he reached his goal. Condit, it's like, dude, you were on the top of the mountain. You had the interim title. You took GSP to the limit. You knocked him down. You had a great fight with Robbie Lawler. It's like, dude, what are we doing here, man? Like, it's just, obviously we can I really call Condit a USADA victim? I don't know if I can call him a USADA victim because it's like he doesn't look any different. So I don't know what the issue is, but obviously I just don't think grapplers. Obviously, this is a better matchup than some of the other matchups he's been getting. Who did he get? He got Chiesa, Damian Maia. Who was else? Neil Magny. Neil Magny's a grinder. He'll outwork you. So I'm gonna be taking Mcgee via decision. And Court's just ability to outwork people, man, he's a hard worker, man. There's nothing I can take away. He's not the most talented guy in the world, but he's a good wrestler and he just works hard. So I'm going to be taking him. I think he gets the dub. Next fight, I think the co-main event. Germaine Randamie versus Julianna Pena. Germaine comes in 9-4, the number one bantamweight in the world. Fights out of San Jose, age 36, height of 5'9", and a reach of 72. Julianna Pena is 9-3, number 4 bantamweight in the world. Fights out of Washington, age 31, height 5'6", and a reach of 69. In terms of recent wins, Germaine's most recent win was his Aspen Lad. Julianna Pena's most recent one was Nico Montagna. In terms of recent losses, Germaine lost to Amanda Nunes, no shame in that, and Julianna Pena's most recent loss was to Valentina Shevchenko. So when I look at this fight, this is a high level fight, right? But I just don't have that feeling about this fight. I don't know, y'all. I don't know, y'all. Here's what I gotta say about this. I kind of look at this as the Germaine de Randamie Raquel Pennington fight. In terms of skills, Raquel's a decent grappler. She has decent hands. Now, I will say Julianna Pena is a slicker grappler. You know what I'm saying? A little smoother, not as like it's stiff. I think that would be the word. Like, you know, the way she transitions and stuff like that. I feel like the way she would transition in Neon Belly would be a lot smoother than Raquel Pennington would. So if you kind of see what I'm saying. But Julianna Pena's, man, I seen her fight Nico Montaigne. Hey, man, if you look at the stat line, right, Nico Montaigne is a former flyweight champion. You're like, oh, that's a good win. But if you really look at that fight, you look at those two girls. Now, obviously, I was happy Julianna Pena beat her. But you look at Nico Montaigne, she should never have been a champion. She should never have that stat line under her name. But it is what it is. You can't do nothing about it. You look at that fight, it was kind of sloppy. Julianna Pena was trying her best to snap her head down and trying to get some type of takedown, but she was struggling. Obviously, Nico Montaigne is a grappler herself, so they kind of cancel each other out sometimes. But yeah, I really do see this as the Germaine de Randamie versus Raquel Pennington fight. Germaine, she did not show good takedown defense against Amanda Nunes, which fucking blew my mind. I remember when I did the predictions for, was it UFC 245? Now, I picked Amanda, but I was like, man, this is a hard fight for Amanda. Now, it ended up being a hard fight in the second round where Germaine had got some offense in, right? But it was like, man, and Germaine was just getting taken down. And I'm like, Germaine, why are you not getting, you have a bit of a striking advantage here. Not in the power, but you're a little more technical than Amanda. And I was like, what are you doing, girl? Like, she literally threw that fight under the wire. I don't know what she did. I don't know why it ended up being like that, but it is what it is. But Germaine has shown good takedown defense against Raquel Pennington, and I think she's gonna do it again against Julianna Pena, and I think she's gonna stop it. I don't know if it's that effort, but I'm gonna be going Germaine de Randamie in this via decision. But next fight, hey, the main event, Holly Holm versus Irene Aldana. Now, I did a breakdown on this fight. I know, guys, I say this all the time, but I want you guys to go watch that breakdown. I go really in-depth with it, but I'll give you my prediction. I'm going to be going Irene Aldana via first round KO. I'm rooting for you, girl. Go get it done. Make the world happy. But, yeah, that's probably it for my video. I know, y'all. I know. I'd love to talk about it here, but I already did it. It's like a 10-minute video on that. So go check that out. What else? Go follow me on Twitter. Go follow me on Instagram. All the links will be in the description box. Also, the timestamps, everything you need will be in there. And yeah, hope you guys have a wonderful day. eBay Predictions is out. And see y'all.